Hello, and welcome to what I hope will be the first of many in a series of time-lapse essays about the life histories of some of my ancestors. Note that the following will include some discussion of religion, polygamy, and other aspects of Francis's life some may consider negative. If any of these items bother you, please feel free to hit that mute button and enjoy the time-lapse. Also note that the views expressed do not necessarily represent the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, its positions and policies. Please refer to the church's official website if you want to go down that road. So today we're going to talk a little bit about my great-grandfather, Francis Thorpe. So today I'd like to talk a little bit about my great-grandfather Thorpe, Francis Easter Thorpe. He was born into a fairly large polygamous family to the third wife of Herman F.F. Thorpe. Her name was Jensine Jensen. Francis was born on April 11th, 1903. So just after the turn of the century. As mentioned before, he's born into a polygamous family. Herman F.F.'s first wife died. He took on a second wife shortly thereafter. She was very young and she had inherited an instant family. And so she, at some point in the 1880s, decided that she needed to have somebody help her, and she encouraged her husband to take on as a second wife one of her friends. And this was Jensine Jensen. This is a very long, convoluted story. There's many intricacies and aspects to this I don't have time to go into. Suffice to say, polygamy became illegal. My great-great-grandfather Herman F.F. served some time in Sugar House Prison, but he wanted to keep taking care of his families, and so after he served his time, he did just that. And then Francis ended up being the last son born to his third wife. Francis had a difficult relationship with his older siblings from the other wives. It is believed he was picked on, bullied, and this may have affected how he felt about the church. He ended up smoking at a very young age 12, and then he discontinued activity in the church, though he still had relationships and friends that were very active in the church. He himself had very sparse activity throughout his life in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He grew up, he discontinued his formal education after age 12, but then he met his wife, Rita Vernell Isom, who was an orphan. She lost her parents at a very young age, but she was raised by very good people, and so she, as a result, was a very good person. And she fell in love with Francis. They were married on October 21st, 1925, and between 1926 and 1942, they ended up having 6 children. Francis's parents died in 1929 at about the exact same time in September, and he took over the mortgage of his father's home. And so during the Depression years, he ended up bringing 3 children into the world while working $17 a week at ZCMI. They ended up purchasing property in Granger, what would become West Valley City. They also would eventually build a home in Granger, and they made it through the Depression years. Their oldest son served in the armed forces towards the tail end of World War II. My grandfather, his second son, Donald, would serve in the occupation forces in Japan. Francis would keep working various jobs with ZCMI, and then after that he did some work for the church's distribution center. But then he retired. His wife died in 1964. At some point along the way, he had promised her that they would get to the temple. I don't know all the details of that. I don't know. I think he saw that he's getting older, and he saw that the church was very important to his wife, who was active, and I think he felt that if there's any chance of being with her for eternity, he wanted to try and take it. And it took a lot of hard work, a lot of failure, but he eventually made it to the temple. He got a temple recommend, he received the Melchizedek priesthood, and then in 1977, he went with his family to the temple and was sealed to his wife. And in our church, that can happen because we believe in what's called proxy ordinance work. And so someone stood in for Rita. In this case, Luana Thorpe, his daughter-in-law, stood in for Rita. And in a sacred ceremony in the temple, he was sealed through Luana to Rita. And then with Luana still standing in for Rita, they were sealed as a family to their children, who were also present in a sacred ceremony in the Salt Lake Temple. This was probably the crowning achievement spiritually of his life. He ended up losing some limbs due to his smoking addiction. He also had some problems with drinking as well, but he made it. And so this whole thing is about the legacy of Francis. What is his legacy? For me, as I see it, his legacy is family. He could have chosen to skip town as soon as that depression hit and he saw that things were going to be really tough. He stuck to his family no matter what. And I think he got that from his father. His father was dedicated to his families, and he at least felt that love for family, and that love was passed on through him to his own children. And I am a beneficiary of him sticking to it, even with all his faults, all of his failings. He stuck to it, and he loved and served his family. And in the grand scheme of things, I think that's going to be more important. I believe that there will be a judgment. Now, all of us will be resurrected at that judgment, and I believe that his judgment, well, it'll be what it'll be. I don't know exactly what it'll be, but it'll be, at least in regard to family, I think mercy will have claim over his soul. And I hope to see him and meet him again. And thank you for listening to this and watching this time lapse. I hope you have a good day and a good week.